Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. I'm looking at a chart of Social Security's actuarial table. And this is why I believe it is possible to live to be 300, 400, 500, even 1,000 years old. Because if you're 18 years old and you're male, your probability of dying in a given year is about 1 in 1,000. And so if you can keep your body as healthy as an 18-year-old, in theory, you could live to be 1,000 years old. Right? But it gets even better than that. Because if you look at the number one causes of death for people who are 18 or so, the top 3 causes are, believe it or not, some accidents, homicides, and suicides. I think in that order. And those are things that tend to go away with wisdom, right? When you're 50 years old, those risks really go down, except that your cancer, heart disease, and other things like that tend to take over, right? So if you could keep yourself physically like an 18-year-old, but with the wisdom of a 50-year-old as you grow up, you could avoid all of those risks, right? And so, okay, that's a very extreme case, right? Nobody's going to pass for 18. See, I think I'm still 18 years old physically because when I go to an R-rated movie, people still check my ID. I was in Germany and people checked my ID when I got a beer, and I think the drinking age there is 16. Now, granted, that was a few years ago. That's an extreme case, but it doesn't take a whole lot. Even if you've already missed your chance to stay 18 forever, if you can stay, I don't know, 57 forever, right? So imagine going to file for Social Security, and people think that you look too young to get Social Security. Although if you're filing electronically, that's probably not going to be a big problem. But you got a 1 in 100 chance of dying when you're 57, right? If you can just stay this young for the rest of your life, you could potentially have 100 more years left, right? So 157, right? But even then, even if you've already passed any of that, right, at 66 years old, right, around the time you get your first Social Security check, if you can keep your body healthy as you are that day you get your first check, you could potentially have 50 more years left, right? It gets even better for women, right? At 66, you got this is about 1 in 80 or so. So you could potentially have 80 more years left. You could potentially live to be 146, right? But you got to stop consuming the trans fat, the sugar, the additives. Stop using chemicals, and if you could just stay 66 years old, right? Anyways, that's why I sometimes very casually talk about living to be 200. I hope to in the year 2084, the Earth will line up directly in between the Sun and Mars. I hope to travel to Mars to view that. I'll be 97 years old on paper, but in my mind, I often think of myself making that trip in an even younger body than I have today. So that's how you live to be 1,000. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.